Hi, welcome to episode 2 of Thriving Kids. This video is about food and nutrition for kids. It's a common knowledge that adults and kids are overfed and undernourished in developed and developing nations. Despite all the health related guidelines and every now and then nutritional experts and health coaches are telling us what to eat and what not to eat. So even if you don't want to hear, their voices are always in our heads when we are planning our food menu and procuring. And it has got to a point that despite all this knowledge, we are still in a state of confusion and mess. And food has become, complicated, something that every species understand and human beings do not understand what is our food. And as a result of this, the chronic illnesses now which were common in adults, now it's also hitting kids at a very young age. And the examples are kids are being diagnosed with diabetes, kidney failure, cardiovascular diseases at the age of say uh, you know 2, 3, or even girls are having their menstruation cycle at the age of 8. So all of these hormonal imbalances, we know that somehow we know that this is being caused by the processed food, which is not traditional diet. But is it enough? We need to understand little deeper that what is the root cause of the state of mess that we are in. Now let's take a step back and understand why there is chaos, and am I going to add more chaos and confusion in already in your life. So nutritional science is only 200 years old. What it means that, let's say, in 1650s surgery was very new science, and we would not think of any surgery or operation because the science of anatomy was new. Same way, today nutritional experts do not have definitive answer, hence there is too much chaos and conflict. Secondly, there are vested interest of government and corporates. So for instance, we know that that processed food is leading to diabetes or other chronic illnesses, but still on the bag of chip we don't see that nutritional warning which says that consumption of chips may lead to obesity and diabetes. Why? Uh, because these industrialists who are producing or manufacturing these commodities are fighting amongst themselves. So for example, the one of the common ingredient is trans fat, right? So trans fat is fighting with say refined grains, that maybe this disease is caused by refined grain, not by trans fat. So these ingredients, the producer of these ingredients are fighting among themselves. But as the consumer, we know that there is no dispute that all the processed foods are linked with chronic illnesses. So there is no confusion, everybody is on the same page. And how do I say with all this firm, so why I'm saying with confidence that people who have left these processed foods have noticed a remarkable improvement in their health. So there is no dispute at all that all processed food. So what is processed food? Anything that has a that comes in a package, right? And any ingredient, right, which we don't keep in our pantry and is mentioned on the the label, that means it is processed food, right? So let's also understand that the food for kids is not different for adults. And people will say, why how can it be same? Because kids are growing and adults are not, so how can it be different? because adults have messed up their body, and they are sure that this is how or not they can manage or sustain for the rest of their lives, so they start to boycott couple of ingredients or the diet or the lifestyle. So we need to understand that same issue our kids will also face when they will grow old, because our body has the natural healing ability, but if we continue to abuse it, uh, it will just, it will not be able to manage it on its own. So arresting at a very young age is important. And what we are doing, we are giving all the sugary foods. So there is an inborn preference to sugary, salty and fatty foods. So this is the inborn preference of our palate, uh, which is fine, but if it is not in natural form, it has no meaning for us. So what we are doing as parents, we think it is okay to give sugary foods or salty or fatty foods, or food which has any ingredient that we don't keep in our pantry. And here I don't want to call out refined flours, refined sugar, all of this, all information we have, right? There is no debate here, but still we are not able to implement it. So what we are going to do differently, and this has to start with adults, and what I'm going to say has been tried and tested on myself and on my family, and it works. I'm not a nutritional expert, but I have learned all these lessons only with experiences, and I don't believe in calling out any diet. I don't believe in calling out whether vegan is good or non-vegetarian is good or whatever is good. And I will also not share that what you should be eating, because just again to give a brief overview of the diet, as a human race we have adapted to different diets. For example, in Greenland, which is high fat diet, and people do not have any chronic illnesses. So people from different regions have been studied about the chronic illnesses. So they take seal blubber, right, which is meat, which is an animal product, and they don't have any chronic illnesses. Then you go to South America, some regions, they're just very high on corn diet, maize diet, very high carb diet. Again, they don't have sign of chronic illnesses. You go to some parts of Africa, like Masai Mara, they are high meat, high protein diet. So no sign of chronic illnesses. So it is unfair to label any diet for chronic illnesses, because there is no definitive answers to it. It is still work in progress. Now I started to answer this very basic question, that anything that I'm eating, is it causing any illness, or is it making me any is it causing any deficiency in my system? So I wanted to be very clear about that anything that I'm ingesting in the system should nourish me or should not cause any illness in the system. Alright, so I started this experiment 2 years ago, and this is about just recording what all I ate and what I felt after eating it. And this exercise just took me 5 minutes every day. And what is it? I'll share now. So here is my food journal. Every day, whatever I ate, what time I ate, I just started to record it. So it doesn't matter what I ate, but if I can elaborate a couple of ingredients, or whether it was home cooked or bought from store or packaged food, everything I started to record. And at the end of the day, or maybe next day, I would just write how did I feel, like what was the reaction in the stomach, did I feel any indigestion, constipation, acidity, bloating, or was it very cool, calm. So against each this record, I started to journal. And whenever I was traveling, I started use just a scrap, and then just jot down whatever I ate. And this record helped me in getting off all the ingredients, at least identifying that this is causing some concern in my system. And there's a big science about the microbiome. So my microbiome is different from yours, and this is also a result of evolution, which we understand what Darwin has mentioned about how this body grew with the signal of growth and decay, and how our gut microbiome formed basis our local traditions and from where we grew up, and what we inherited from our from our ancestors. Right, so it is a very vast science, but in terms of implementation, what we can do, just record what you have eaten and how you felt about it. Now, after some point, I stopped recording at what time I ate, because now I know that this is the time when I take my meal. So for me, it is not important to write the time, but for if you are a beginner, I would suggest you record the time, because every our body is based on circadian rhythm, and the time of Earth can be seen in the time taken by Earth to revolve around Sun can be seen in our body itself. So there is circadian rhythm, there is a rhythm of seasons. So all of that has direct relation with our own body and our digestion. Right, just to summarize, we'll do one experiment of recording all our whatever we ate, and it will just take 5 minutes, and this will help you in identifying those ingredients. Secondly, once you have identified, it is not about leaving those, because then which means that there is some sign of weakness in the system. So for instance, if I had a glass of milk, right, and I felt very sleepy or lethargy, or let's say I had a sandwich and I felt little sleepy, so which then identify that what is that in the system is causing that. Is it that grain or some intolerance in the system, and address that. So there are natural integrative therapies which can be used to address all these deficiencies in the system. So the idea is not to leave it, as just address those deficiencies. That is first. Secondly, for kids, we can do a couple of more experiments. Give them handful of sugar, right, and a piece of apple, and ask them to put it on the ground, and you will notice that that ants, you will see more ants piling up on the sugar than on the apple, because it is more it is difficult to break down the complex carb which is in the apple, and refined sugar is simple carb. So like that little experiment, so that it gets internalized. So the issue today is not about education and awareness. We have a lot of information available on the net, but unless it gets integrated within our system, it has no benefit. So here's what I suggest: give those ingredients. And here I'm talking, why I'm only talking about ingredients, because it is not about the diet, it is about the ingredients that we are consuming, because as of today, the chemical bonanza, right, that happens with every food or with every bite, every morsel that we take, there is no definitive answer that why this is happening. So let's, for our own sake, let's go to at a very ingredient level, and if it is too much, then at least you can go to try and address it with regular meals. For example, if it is a complex meal, that what was the proportion of that meal? Let's say 70% vegetables, 30% grains. Very high level to start with, and this will give you definitive answer about your own health and your own system, how to address all the issues related to diseases, weight, and the bad habits, right? The cravings, that why do I crave for sugar? And it is not a good thing to crave for any foods. So because we'll never crave for subtle foods. Subtle foods are only to take care of our nutritional deficiency and hunger. All right, this is one experiment that we can do with our kids, and they can also draw the food that they have eaten, just to make add more fun element to it. But yes, to just wrap it up, there is no dispute that all processed foods are causing illnesses, um, but the nutritional experts, the industrialists would not like to give that warning, because they are fighting amongst themselves that hey, trans fat is causing, or emulsifier is causing, or whatever. But for us as a consumer of this information, we should be clear in our minds that anything that is packaged is not good for our kids, even all the sugary foods. All right, do this experiment, and stay tuned for more episodes on Thriving Kids. Thank you. Bye bye.